Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 2020 Caradonna Master Series. We made it to 2021. Today, we're starting off the year with our great friends from Dominica. We have Nancy and Arnell from Jungle Bay and Simon Walsh from Nature Island Divers, and they are long-term partners of us. Jungle Bay is a spa, wellness, and dive retreat. Really something great for all of you to experience. So we're going to go ahead and run a video and then do the presentation. And then at the end of the presentation, our Vice President, Cami Akins, will be taking questions, and she will bring them up so that Simon and Nancy and Arnell can answer them. So we're ready to go. So take us to Dominica. Okay, at this point in the presentation, we're going to go ahead and start with Nancy. So Nancy, if you'd like to take us to Jungle Bay, we're ready to go.
Sorry, it's actually Simon's turn first. He's going to take you diving first before you come to Jungle Bay.
Okay, so let me take you and introduce you to Dominica. So my name is Simon Walsh, and I am with Nature Island Dive in the village of Soufriere, Dominica. Soufriere, Dominica is located in the very southern end of the island and in the middle of the Soufriere Scott's Head Marine Reserve. So we're very ideally located for all of your scuba diving needs. With Jungle Bay only a 5-minute drive away, makes a perfect partnership. So I'm not going to linger too long on the top side, but as you can see, Dominica is a very, very different kind of an island than many of our Caribbean neighbors. We are green, luxurious rainforest, and we have amazing topside activities of waterfalls, and you can go canyoning and hot spas and soak in volcanic pools up in nature, and all sorts of activities, the bird watching and free diving, all sorts of things. But sometimes we're a little afraid to linger too long on the top side, because then maybe it sounds like the underwater is not that attractive. But we are blessed with absolutely amazing topside and amazing underwater life. So here's a picture of the village of Soufriere on the right, where we're located. Oh, my apologies. Okay, but you were hearing me before, Javier? So you were hearing, okay, fine. Oh, very good. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with the amazing topside. And now you can see the village of Soufriere and Jungle Bay Dead Center. So you can see how closely located we are to each other. And if you don't think Jungle Bay is a great place, well, a double rainbow is always going to disagree with that. So here we are with a nice map to show you our dive sites. And we're located here in Soufriere in the middle. And you can see we have over 20 dive sites located within a 10-minute boat ride of the dive shop. So we're extremely well located, and it allows us to be extremely flexible in our dive planning. Now with the current situation with COVID, where we're running, often people are coming at 3 o'clock and we're running out for one dive. We have really tremendous flexibility. So if you just look a bit above the village of Soufriere here, you can see La Bim and La Bim North. This area here is all over a 1,500 foot deep wall. So within 2 minutes of our jetty, you're on a beginner's site because it's about 20 feet under the boat on a flat plateau. And then within 3 minutes of swimming, you arrive on this wall that just plunges down 1,500 feet. And then as we go north, we have a few more dive sites, Dangleben's Pinnacles out in the, and if you look here at Dangleben's Pinnacles, this is the furthest we can dive from shore, because underwater, the topography is as dramatic as the topside, and it all just drops off very, very quickly into deep water. So this area here where you see Dangleben's Pinnacles, that's the furthest point to the north that we dive from shore. Everything else is closer. And going all the way up north, we come, and the most northern point we dive is Champagne Reef, and that's famous for its bubbles and like diving in a glass of champagne. Then when you come down to the southern area, you see here what we would call unparalleled dive sites and pretty much unbeatable in the Caribbean, our favorite sites. Every day I wake up, this is where I'm trying to get to. But because of currents and waves and wind and things like this, it's not somewhere you can go every day. Every day we head out and we try to go out there and look for good conditions. In a week's visit, you'll probably be able to dive out there 2 or 3 days. But there might be a few days, depending on what time of year you come, that you can't get out there all the time. And then coming around the southern coast here, all the way around to Lost Horizons, we have a new site we put in here called Sifan City, and then Suburbs, Village. These are all, you need good weather because it can get pretty rough out here. And I wouldn't say they're better than the sites on the peninsula, but they are different and a little bit wilder, you'll see in some of the pictures. And then far down in the left corner, we have Mountaintop. A site, 60 foot is the shallowest piece on it. It's a pinnacle with 1,000 feet of water all the way around it. And you need good conditions to dive that. So if you come here for a week and you get to dive Mountaintop, you've had an awesome week. So here we are looking at the southern end of the island. If you look at the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the arrangement underwater of various pinnacles and swim-throughs and coral heads and stuff like that. This is the area I've been talking about. Absolutely spectacular diving, and definitely where you want to be anytime you can go out in the morning. Here you can see the proximity of our dive sites to each other. Now, we sometimes dive just these sites. Sometimes we link these sites up together. If you look at a map of the Cayman Islands, this is probably going to be about 30 dive sites the way they map their sites. But we just have them as one, but you can dive in between them. You can dive around them and do them all different configurations. And you can see the deep color of the water all the way around the dark blue around the bottom edge. That's all falling off into deep water, going up onto the shelf. This is just an example of how we run some of our dives. It's a little map that I sort of use as a training map for any dive masters that we're training here. You can see various ways of doing them. So each one is a different color. The green one here is sort of the same site, and yet you see there's very different variations on how we do our dives depending on the ability of the group, the air consumption of the group. So we'll mix and match, and there's even more configurations than this, but these are only 5 dive sites, but it kind of gives you an idea. We like to start and end our dives on different places when it's possible. but some sites are just made to starting and ending at the same place. This is Scott said drop-off, one of my favorite sites, simply because it doesn't matter if you have a Discover scuba diver or you have an extremely advanced diver or even snorkelers on board. Everybody's going to walk away from this as a very, very happy diver. The wall is one of the most colorful walls I've seen anywhere in the Caribbean. It's quite sheltered, so you can dive it pretty much any time of year, and the visibility is usually really, really good. And it's also a fantastic site for macro life. Here's our dive shop. You can see we've got a little coffee shop there on the left-hand side that we open up, and we serve lionfish sandwiches, coffee, smoothies. And now actually in the back area, we put quite a few chairs and created lots of individual seating areas for individual groups, sort of social distancing by furniture. Here we are on the way out to the dive. So you can see we got a long drive ahead all the way across the bay there. It's going to take you about 3 minutes. So we start our dive briefing sometimes here, try and get people's attention. We probably carried all their equipment down to the boat for them already. So by the time Jungle Bay pulls up and drops off the divers, the equipment's all fully loaded, jump on the boat, and off we go. And here we have arrived at Scott said drop off once again, and we can jump off here. So if you have advanced divers, you might head straight out to the wall, and your beginning divers might stay on top and do some exercises. If you're doing training, your snorkelers can stay right on the top there. So we would have different dive masters with different groups, making sure that all experience levels are made happy. So let's get to the important part of my presentation. What do you see underwater? Here you see a very, very typical shot for Dominica. And I visited other islands, and I've done photography projects for tourism boards. And I can tell you, I've been on other islands where I've searched very, very sincerely to take a photo like this. But in Dominica, you'll be able to take 10 different shots like this on every single dive site. Extremely healthy reefs, vibrant colors. Everywhere you look is sponge life. Lots and lots of small fish, medium-sized fish. Not known for the large pelagics. We don't see sharks here. We don't see a lot of rays. Having said that, I swam with an eagle ray for about 5 minutes last week. And you never know what's going to come by. It's a very wild place. So we're not known for the big stuff, but it doesn't really matter when you can look and see the kind of healthy reefs. Some of our dive sites, you don't know what to look at, whether you should be looking at the incredible sponge life and the incredible colors, or looking out to sea for the pelagics going by. Here you can see the multi-layers of fish. We've got the small fry in the front and the Creole wrasse in the back. Behind that, you got some yellowtail snappers. This is one of my favorite dive sites. It's called Crater's Edge. This is my son hovering over the end of it. He's at about 100 feet here. The reason I love this area is it's the last diveable point of our volcanic crater. So this ridge runs out into the blue water, and then you arrive at this spot at 100 feet deep, and all around you is thousands of feet deep. So it's just this really awe-inspiring, sort of gives you the idea of the volcano and the depth all around us. Obviously not for your beginning divers, it's for your people that are pretty good on air. So we don't take everybody here. Sometimes we just stay on the wall. We don't take the 3 minutes to swim out here and stay about 80 feet deep on the wall, and you can see it in the distance, but we don't take everybody out to 100 feet, obviously. One of our very iconic sites, this is Scott said Pinnacle, and this is called Soldierfish Cave. And for the 22 years I was here, this is always been full of soldierfish. And strangely enough, since Maria, smallmouth grunts have decided to come in here now. So there seems to be a battle of the smallmouth grunts and soldierfish. Since we've always named it Soldierfish Cave, we're rooting for the soldierfish to be the winning fish. And either way, you go into this swim through and you're just surrounded by these schools of fish. We do this at the end of the dive for Scott said Pinnacle, because at the end of this swim through, you go into a chimney, you swim up to the top of the chimney, and the shelf is at 15 feet, and you just do your safety stop hovering on top of the shelf above this area, which we call Swiss cheese. This was taken a couple of weeks ago. This is our friend Joey hovering on the wall. I love it because we have massive, massive sponges, but this photo just makes Joey look like a tiny, tiny little midget on a dramatic wall. So he's not, he's a fully grown adult, but the sponges here do make everybody look small. This is actually my son. It's taken about 5-6 years ago, and he's snorkeling on Labim and enjoying the very surface area here, because underneath him it's 1,500 feet deep. So it's pretty dramatic. It's pretty cool. It's not something we take, you know, somebody asks to go snorkeling. Obviously, this isn't an area we take them to, but if somebody wants to do 3 or 4 sites, this is one that always blows them away, because it's the only place I know where you can touch the mountain and underneath you, it's 1,500 feet deep. So very dramatic, very cool. And there is quite a lot of color along the top edge of the wall. This is taken on Crater's Edge. I was down about 100 feet deep when the dive master was above me. I'm pointing right up towards the surface. Here you can see the diversity of our sponge life. We've got orange ear sponges, encrusting sponges, vase sponges, barrel sponges, all kinds of life competing for the reef. And here we've got some rope sponges, but pretty much everywhere you look, we have these crinoids and sponges and color, and a good selection of hard corals as well. But it's not what we're known for. On some of these sites, we're known for the sponge life. And if you notice, everywhere you look, you've got good fish populations. And we do get a lot of yellowtail snappers, barracudas, barjacks, and lots of cerro coming in, and huge king mackerel passing by. Here you see another mix of sponges. You can see the boring sponges on the right side there. For you non-divers, it doesn't mean they're not exciting. It means they're a predatory sponge that bore into the corals. And here you can see Wendy, my wife, hovering upside down over a very large sponge, just enjoying, obviously, a no current day, and just sort of showing how large the sponge life is. And this is a funny thing we see in Dominica, and I don't know if it's a common thing, but you can just see these barrel sponges. I mean, they're just lining up and competing for this one patch of rock that was bare. And here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8, 9 barrel sponges. And these will probably end up forming into one massive barrel sponge by the end. And we never have to swim very far from the boat to find spectacular reef. Here I was looking up at a diver who was doing their safety stop. You can see the boat in the top right corner, and I'm literally underneath the boat on Crater's Edge, just hanging out, taking some pictures. This particular piece of pillar coral, sort of another thing that indicates how healthy our reefs are. Always make sure to take the divers past this spot, because it always blows people away with this just massive, beautiful, healthy piece of pillar coral, lots of fish hiding in it. But it's not just wide angle that makes us a spectacular destination. It's also our macro, seahorses, frogfish of many different colors, many different kinds of shrimp, and some unusual ones like the scarlet line shrimp, yellow frogfish. The funny thing about this frogfish is, while they are masters of disguise, when he was small, he was actually quite well camouflaged next to the boring sponges. And then he grew up and he's no longer quite well disguised as he was, but I don't think he's realized it yet, so he's still hanging out. Here we have a green frogfish. Arrow crabs, particularly thing I notice about people when they come here is they spend a lot of time taking pictures of arrow crabs, and it sort of bewildered me because we have millions of them. And they say, oh no, in many other destinations they're quite rare. Well, here we're looking for them, and we'll find them on any dive. The coral banded shrimp, this one was taken on the bottom, but normally during the week you'll gradually start to ignore these guys because there's so many. Start looking for much better backgrounds. So here's one in a barrel sponge. It's getting a little bit more colorful. Now we have one in a vase sponge. So they're just all over the place. You can always find them and you'll basically stop taking pictures of them until you find them on more and more spectacular backgrounds. Little secondary blenny, hermit crabs, mantis shrimp, but you'll be lucky to get a photo of these guys. They're really frenetic guys running around like crazy. This day I had two of them interacting with each other, so they were kind of ignoring me. So I got some nice photos. Also, we have some great night diving here. One of my favorite subjects for night dives are these orange ball corallimorphs. They're absolutely spectacular. We also have the rarer white ball corallimorph But these are my favorites, and you'll normally find these during night dives and be able to get some photos. The red-banded lobster, you'll see these come out a lot at night. You might see 20 or 30 of these guys. Your standard lobster, of course, you'll see these. I don't have a picture yet because we'll often see the bullseye lobster, which are quite rare, but we see them pretty frequently, but they're very skittish and they tend to run away as soon as you point your lights at them. These guys we see on almost every night dive. These are the cryptic teardrop crabs, about the size of your little fingernail, quite colorful and characteristic little crabs. So here I just want to show you, if you come at certain times of year, you'll see a lot of small fry in the water. And it's this kind of fish action that bring in the medium-sized and larger-sized fish. So this day we were just absolutely cloaked in schools of small fry of many different species of fish. Then we have, I talked about mountaintop. Mountaintop is the one where you'll be lucky to dive if you come here in a week, and you might get to dive it. And this is what you'll see, these larger fish. And this was taken a couple of months ago. And actually our diver here, this is Desiree, our instructor. She has a tube in her hands because we were lionfish hunting this day, but we got a little distracted. I hope that was a nice Zen moment for you, because we totally Zenned out during that lionfish hunt, and we floated there as long as we could, and we were surrounded by these guys. And then they moved off a little bit further out, and then all of a sudden I couldn't get rid of these rainbow runners. They were just all over, coming right in front of me. And we do have things like nurse sharks. So you'll tend to see these out on the Atlantic side sites and the sites with the currents. But we have so many overhangs and hidden places that these nurse sharks love to come and hide in them. Then when we go around to the Atlantic side, or the southern end, which I said is really more exposed to wind and waves, you'll start to see things like much bigger brain corals, massive areas of sea fans, and these elkhorn corals, spectacular areas of elkhorn corals. Not as colorful an area, but a kind of wilder, bigger, and you never quite know what you're going to see in this area. So it's not that you're missing if you don't dive these sites, but if you're here for a week and you get to go out there in a couple of days, it's a treat. But I would never miss the previous mentioned sites around the peninsula. Oh yes, we do have lionfish here. We do a pretty good job. I think Dominica was on the leading edge in the beginning, once in the Southern Caribbean anyway, of course, not compared to some of the places that were invaded first, but we love to take lionfish out. So here's a quick little video. Another, we call this Zen killing. Just go very calm. Don't damage any coral. And yep, nice size lionfish. Hi, Andrew, that's my son. And those are homemade lionfish tubes, which we had to stop using when the lionfish got too big. So thank you for watching, everybody. I hope I gave you a nice little taste of what it's like to be underwater in Dominica and to show you the Nature Island Dive. So now I am going to turn it over to Nancy from Jungle Bay, and she's going to introduce you to the accommodation side.
Okay, so now I'm unmuted. Okay, so welcome everybody to Jungle Bay. You're now gonna see the Soufriere Scott's Head Marine Reserve from another perspective, from where we are and from where you will be staying. This is our pool. We have the whirlpool in the back, and then the restaurant to the left-hand side. And here we see, again, I think Simon has showcased this already, that we're very close to Nature Isle Dive. The proximity is about 5 minutes. I think in reality, it's actually less. It's probably about 3 minutes drive. And here is a little close-up from the Jungle Bay. It's actually a small part. We are on 20 acres. And here right now you see 10 of our villas. There's a total of 60 houses we have. Again, we see the restaurant and the pool, the first picture you saw in the center. And then on the right-hand side are 2 of our beautiful yoga studios, as well as our spa. These are the villas you're staying in. Again, this is looking down from Jungle Bay towards the Scott's Head Soufriere Marine Reserve. So if you're not diving, you can actually watch the divers going out every morning, every afternoon, and see what they're doing down there. This is another perspective of the villa. And so we have 2 types of rooms. We have the villa rooms. They either come with a king-size bed, or if you're, for example, 2 friends and you want to share a villa room, you can get a villa room with 2 single beds. Here is the layout of the villa room. So there's always 2 villa rooms side by side in one of the villas. And if you want, you can actually connect through the balconies. These are the villa suites. So that's basically double size of a villa room. We just left here the wall open. So you have a really nice, large private suite. And for example, if you're a family with smaller children, we have right now a family with the baby, so they use the villa suite. If you have a little older children, we can also convert the lounge bed, which you see to the right-hand side, as an additional bed, or we can add actually 2 extra single beds into the villa suites as well. The bathrooms are the same in the villa suites as well as in the villa rooms. It's actually one of my favorite areas in the villas. And here you see the layout of the villa suite. So you can see where we saw before 2 separate rooms. You now have basically the bedroom and then an open area, which is the lounge room. And here I just put together the 2 layouts so you can compare. It's exactly the same from the outside. The only thing which will change is when you have 2 villa rooms, of course, you have 2 entrances. We also feed you. Of course, this is our restaurant. We focus on a very healthy cuisine. So it's mainly fresh vegetables, fresh fish, of course, seafood. We also serve a little bit of local meat, mainly goat, rabbit. And we're gonna have a second restaurant. It's already built. We're gonna open soon within the next few months, and it's mainly gonna be dining in the evening. We're gonna call it Fish Pot, of course, so in the Caribbean. This is gonna be, the restaurant is gonna be on the upper level where you have also seating outside. Below is our gym, and we have a picture of our gym here. And then at Jungle Bay and in Dominica, like Simon has already mentioned, we have a lot to do above water as well. So Jungle Bay is also specialized in other adventures like hiking. This is the hike to the Boiling Lake. And spa, of course. We have 14 treatment rooms. Gonna see the spa menu actually in just a few moments. And then we also do yoga. We have daily yoga classes. They're either in the morning or evening. And here's an example of what we offer in terms of activities. When you go on the website, you actually see Monday till Sunday. So this is just a small cut of our activities. Every day, you're gonna find 2-3 activities you can join in. So either you can come here to dive, and then maybe in the afternoon you decide you do another dive, or you do another activities. We have herbal presentation. We newly also have the local rum tasting. We have garden tours. We have the Jungle Bay story. We have a Caribbean cooking class. So there's many things you can enjoy in the afternoon, as well as, of course, the yoga classes. What I think is really ideal, if you come into Dominica and you may be a diver, but your partner is not a diver, you know that your partner is not going to be bored. There's so many things they can just join in every single day. And then, of course, the spa. We do have spa treatments available. There's different massages. We have a very interesting foot detox, as well as manicures and pedicures. Okay, so that was Jungle Bay. I'm going to turn back to Caradona.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Nancy is also a yoga instructor, and so you will see her beautiful face when you're taking a class there. And we do encourage all divers to try yoga. It's really wonderful with breathing techniques and relaxation. It certainly carries forward into what you do with diving. And I also wanted to say Simon is a renowned photographer and an expert in everything marine life. He is our go-to person when we ever have any questions about, diving in Dominica and just how the marine life is. For a while, we were nonstop answering questions about Maria and how the reefs were recovering. And you can see from the beautiful images just how vibrant Dominica is. And with COVID, I think the island has also had a chance to heal too. Not that they get a huge amount of traffic, but the island is open. We do have COVID restrictions, which we have on our website, but the island is ready for you to come down, and you can see how beautiful it is there. And also that they have the lowest amount of any COVID positive at whatsoever. So it's a great destination to travel to. And I'm going to have Cammie come on, and she will address some of the questions that came up. But thank you both so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, actually, we didn't have very many comments, just really nice comments about how lovely the view was, how the marine life looks incredible. So I just kind of made some general questions here that I think would be really helpful. Simon, can you tell me about the boat dives? I know you showed pictures of leaving, but do you stay out for a 2-tank trip, or do you go out for 1-tank trips? What's your schedule like?
Yeah, in generally, what we do is we are so close to the dive sites, and we're often doing a deeper dive in the morning, and then a slightly shallower dive close to the shore in the afternoon or in the second dive. So we actually come back in between all dives. This gives groups, as Nancy said, we tend to get a lot of people here that might be doing one dive in the morning so that they can do a more advanced hike, like say Middleham Falls, which might take you 3 or 4 hours to complete that entire hike. So they don't really want to do 2 dives and then do that hike. Then we get some people that just want to sleep in a little bit later and join on the second dive. So we're running a very flexible schedule, and it works for us and it works for the clients really, really well. It's pretty unique. Most people tend to go out, as everybody knows, and stays out for the 2 dives. Here, we just like the flexibility. The other thing is it allows people that have snorkeling partners or non-diving partners to get on and off the boat as they want. So they can pop down from Jungle Bay when they see the boat coming in and join on the second dive and do some snorkeling. They don't have to sit on the boat all morning just because they want to do a snorkeling excursion on the second dive.
Gotcha. That flexibility is great because there is so many amazing topside things to do. I couldn't help but notice the lionfish and a little bit of hunting there. Can guests hunt lionfish?
Oh, absolutely. We do want to know that you're a qualified, not qualified, but you're a good diver before we allow you to hunt lionfish. There's two main concerns with allowing guests to hunt lionfish, and that, of course, is damaging the reefs. So it's easy to miss a lionfish and have your pole spear, hit some sponges behind, which is not good. The other thing is if you miss too many lionfish, the lionfish become accustomed to running away from divers, which makes it harder for us professionals to remove them. And the third factor is always safety. So you want to make sure people don't get over enthusiastic and go too deep chasing lionfish and run out of air because they're so fixated on lionfish. So we cover all of this in lessons. We take people out onto the garden and we have a stuffed lionfish and we have people practice shooting a stuffed lionfish. And once we've seen them in the water, we know they're qualified divers with good buoyancy, then they're happy to hunt as much as they want.
Wonderful. And then the only other questions I had was about gear rental and gear storage. Can people bring their own gear? Do they have somewhere to store it, or do you rent gear?
Yeah, so of course with dive groups, a lot of people are bringing their own gear. So we have a nice area for washing gear. I mean, right now we have a 3-tank system so that if we have divers who are renting gear, everything has to be disinfected and specific solutions and stuff like that. And then we have areas where that gear is kept aside from the other gear. So there's a lot more protocols in it now, but we handle everything. If you want to, you get off the boat. If you're renting a car, you can't do that now until you've cleared through quarantine, of course. But in normal times, if you're renting a car, you can get off the boat, get in your car and drive away, and we'll take care of your gear. Rinse everything off properly, hang it up to dry. We rinse out the inside and outside of your BCDs. We do a thoroughly professional job, hang everything up to dry. And when you come down in the morning, you'll find your gear on the boat, except for your booties and your wetsuit, which you'll go and put on. Most people just leave everything on shore. They leave their dry gear here because we're coming back in between dives anyway. So grab their cameras, grab your wetsuit, leave your personal belongings on inside, or bring them on the boat if you want, and off we go.
Great. And then transportation to get to the dive shop. I know you said it's like a really quick, like 3 minutes or so. That's included in either the hotel or the dive shop, the transportation back and forth for right now?
Yes,
yeah,
that's included in our packages. So usually it's us, Jungle Bay, bringing the divers down.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I did have somebody just post on Facebook. John wants to know, how would you get there from New York? What would be what you would recommend right now for flights for people getting to Dominica?
From New York, I think I'd recommend JetBlue coming in through San Juan and combining with Silver Airlines. That's been a reliable, they've been running for a long time. JetBlue and Silver Airlines have a code share, so it's quite easy to book. And I think that's probably your easiest. And then from
San Juan, it is nonstop, John, to get straight to Dominica. So you just have those 2 flights. And then Nancy had a question pop up about air conditioning. It looked like one of the slides said maybe coming soon. Is that?
Yeah,
did I read that?
Correct.
Okay.
To be honest with you, it is not too hot where we are. We always have a nice wind coming through. And I think really personally, and I'm living at Jungle Bay year round, this is what I really like, is that you can open up all the louvers or even the windows and you get this nice breeze cooling the villas. However, it is true during the summer month that it can get, during the day, it can get a little warmer. And this is why we have decided to put the air conditioning in. One of our concerns was the environment, so it took us a little longer to source nature-friendly air conditionings. So the ones we got now, they're solar powered, and we're going to start to install them actually as we speak. So by the summer month, when it does get a little warmer, they will be there. But to be honest with you, especially the comments from European is usually, I really, really appreciate Jungle Bay because we can open up these windows. And I think also in the COVID time, this is really important that you're able to get fresh air and not in a closed up room. Yeah.
And I can attest to it. I saw the property when it was still a little bit under construction. and of course there wasn't even power in the room I saw at the time, and there was still a great breeze. So it was very refreshing. So I'm sure many people enjoy it. And then the only other question I had was, as far as the restaurant, can they cater to special needs for diets, like a vegetarian, pescatarian?
Definitely. I'm a vegetarian myself, so yes, definitely. Yeah, and gluten-free and whatever. The key is to communicate so that we can let our kitchen staff know. Because especially with gluten-free, this is something like the gluten-free bread, for example, you want to really do it freshly. So we just need to know in advance the different intolerances so we can cater for that. And Dominica is really ideal because I would say about 80% from what we serve comes from the island. You can actually, even that's what I do. I shouldn't share that with you all, but that's what I do in the morning. I go jogging and then I walk through the Jungle Bay Garden and I just pick the fruits freshly from the tree. Right now we have a lot of papayas, we have bananas, we have a banana plantation. And I see the little pineapples coming up. So in about 3 months, if you're coming to Jungle Bay, you're able to pick your own pineapple. And this is also what we actually do want to invite our guests to take part of this unbelievable nature which we have here. And it's also part of our program to take you through the gardens, because there's going to be many fruits and herbs you probably have never seen before, or you have gotten them in form of a pill, but we do have them fresh here in our garden. So it's very interesting. And many of these fruit trees, as well as herb, they serve for a medicinal problem or issue, or to help. For example, the soursop leaves. The soursop is a fruit. You can also use the leaves if you have any sleeping problems. So I myself, I've been in Dominica for 13 years, but I learned so much about this healing power of the nature, which is very, very interesting.
Wonderful. Everything looks amazing. I can't believe how lush everything. Dominica is just lush to begin with, but the grounds look absolutely lovely. The view is stunning. So Elise, I'm going to turn it back to you. That's all the questions we had.
Alrighty, and we just wanted to mention that this is the new location for Jungle Bay, which is in proximity to Nature Island Dive, which is such a great combination. Before, it was a location that it wasn't close to the diving, so this is, you get the best of both worlds. And I really encourage our clients to when they make their plans to go to Dominica, that they really take a look at Jungle Bay, because it's very special. And of course, working and diving with Simon's team, you're not going to get much better than that. The experience and the ability to spot the critters and everything else is something that will be, a plus to any of your daily dive trips. So we thank you both very much, and looking forward to seeing you soon. Take care, stay healthy, and we will bring you lots of business as soon as the U.S. opens up all of our freedoms.
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much.
All righty, take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.